people are gonna think I'm doing a Joe Hendry bit, and I don't want to be mistaken for that. I have enough. I have self-respect. Hi, I'm Warren, and this is the Thursday night stream here on ye old YouTube channel. Hope everyone is having just a fucking lovely time. I hope you're having a lovely fucking time this week. I just hope it's the best little fucking time you've had this entire year so far, okay? I hope your week has just been like so fucking great that you just can't stop talking about it, okay? And somehow, maybe, you know, some people would prefer not to know how good your fucking week has been. I've had a pretty good week. I had a pretty good week. It's almost done. It's almost finito. We're this close. And I'm a slob today. Like I don't know what's going on. Okay. Look, I have no shame. All right. I'm gonna share this stuff with you, chat. Look, check this out. Okay. This is what I have on my desk. Thank God my desk is fairly large, okay? But it's still very slobby, okay? So I have a mug, tea mug from earlier today. I have a plate that I used for breakfast because I had toast. I had my cereal in the kitchen. I ate my cereal, and then I had toast here while I was working. Empty bag of M&Ms, right? Look at this fucking thing. This is like a little dish that I have in which I put my tea bags. Like I put the water in the mug over the tea bag in the kitchen, and then I let it seep while I'm sitting and working. And then at some point I pull it out and I put it in this little receptacle here. Cause no, I don't have a trash can next to me. Thank you very much for asking, Mom. And I also have the remnants of a Cliff Bar bag. I love the Cliff Bars. I've got 2 cans of soda, and the thing that's very sad about the cans of soda, as you know, I'm cutting down. I really don't drink as much, but it's like, Warren, did you drink 2 cans of soda today? No, like that's the sad thing is that one of them has been here for like a week, and I haven't taken it out or anything. I haven't returned it, recycled it, nothing. I'm a slob. I'm a fucking slob. Then I have my trusty Owala bottle for your regular hydration needs. I have a plant. A nice little. I have 2 plants on my desk. One is a little too big. I'm not gonna move it around. But look at this wonderful fella here. This is a what's it called again? Hang on, let me pull up Planta. I can never. It's one of my newer ones. And I was warned by the lady at the plant store that this would be a little difficult. So it's a philodendron. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I know that how to pronounce it in French. It's philodendron, but in English I have no idea. A ring of fire. Philodendron. It's doing pretty good. See, brand new leaf right here. And there's another stem for another leaf coming out right there. Do you see it? You see it right there? Maybe right there. So, and the cool thing is they call it a ring of fire because it flowers. It makes one like big flower, when conditions are ideal. Like I said, this is a fairly new one. So it hasn't flowered yet. Apparently it doesn't flower a lot during the year. And I would assume that it's not going to be flowering much in November and December, where there's, the least amount of sunlight throughout the entire year. No, I don't have a grow light, Mom. So, I may be a slob, but I also have greenery. See? I have my Ming Areala right there. I have, what's that called again? Fuck. Thank God I have the plant app. Yeah, that's the heartleaf philodendron. And that's a big ass motherfucker, and it's great. And then up there I have a spider plant which debuted on the match reviews, the grab bag. It's a jasmine plant that I have here, but it's pretty big. I'm going to leave it there. Got another plant there that's suffering a little bit, so I put it close to my window here. Gets more light, so hopefully that's all it needs. Did Juno leave? Oh, yeah. She was right there. Anyway, that's the situation with my plants. That's what's going on. And so, you know, all of this started. Oh, and I also have a Godzilla, a little Godzilla here from the Godzilla vs. Kong, right? And he's got the atomic blast with him. So yeah, that's the state of my desk. I'm a slob. I should have gotten rid of everything. I'm also going to dust this weekend. Anyway, how you doing? how are you doing? Holy moly. Hi, Silver Apocalypse. Nice to see you. Welcome. Also member of the channel. Very nice to see you. Zach McGibbon. Nice to see you. I believe in WarrenHayes. God damn it. You saw the thing. Shit. Here was like, there's no one around. There's always someone watching. I should take my own advice. There's always someone watching. Just say his name in his podcast appears. No. Complete regret. Complete regret that I did that. Boris, nice to see you and welcome. Do you add milk and sugar in your tea? No, I do not. Meggy O'Cana, nice to see you. Also member of the channel. Spider plant does whatever a spider plant can do. Spins a plant any size. Catches plants just like plants. Look out. Here comes the spider plant. Sports and Things Shows, nice to see you, Carlos. Welcome. A devil snare? Wait, what was the devil snare? This plant here? Is that what it's called? Silver Apocalypse? Is this what it's called? A devil snare? I did not know that. I thought it was called a ring of fire. Is this what this is? Or was it something else? Are you referring to something else? Because if it's called a devil snare, that fucking rocks. That's a great name. Oh, the devil snares from Harry Potter. Oh, see. Okay, there you go. Well, sorry about that. I still think a ring of fire is pretty cool, but my Harry Potter knowledge is extremely low. Like that, you know, I never got into it. My kids didn't get into it either. You know, we saw like right up to Prisoner of Azkaban, you know, as far as the movies go. My kids never read the novels. I never read the novels. I don't know. It just did, you know, I don't know. I'm a Star Wars guy. What do you want from me? And you know, and it, you know, it was young adult lit, and I was a fully grown adult. Maybe it wasn't exactly, but I have, you know, I shouldn't try to say, oh, I was a fully grown adult. I didn't talk, you know, it doesn't speak to me. I'm not that audience. Whereas I'm a fully grown adult that watches cartoons, right? So it's like, I'm not a reference. That's fine. Next week, do you go over your birds? I only have one bird. I only have the one bird. My son's bird, actually, for being very, for establishing perimeters. A budgie. Nice little budgie. I had her for years now. I had her for a long time. She's a good bird. Juggernaut Bloodbath, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. As opposed to the devil's lettuce, yeah, sure. Unfortunately, I don't have much of that. I did rotate the spider plan, by the way, Meggy. I took your comment to heart, and I did give it a little twist. You know, like that's like I mean, this is the hardest time of the year for all of my plants because there's really like there's barely any sunlight at this time of year. So, you know, all we can do is do our best. I like the Dresden Files much better. The lore and magical world is just better put together. The Dresden Files. I've never heard of that. I know of the Dresden Dolls. There's a deep cut. Shout out to anyone who gets it. GTA 6 delayed again? Really? You kidding? To when? Yeah. GTA 6 delayed. Until November 2026? Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed again by Take-Two Interactive's Rockstar Games, this time pushed 6 months from its previously set May 2026 release date. Along with its July-September quarterly earnings results, Thursday, Take-Two announced that the much-anticipated action-adventure open-world title will now launch November 19, 2026. Wow. I saw a thing about them being accused of union busting. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. That's not cool. We got another delay of GTA 6 before GTA 6. Man. Like, but you know, it's like the thing that's wild with delaying GTA 6 is that it affects the entire industry. It affects the entire video game industry because no one is releasing games you know, in the GTA 6 window. Like no one is doing that. Like there is going to be one thing that is going to be released that week. Like, and I'm talking like big time games, you know. There's going to be one game that's going to be released that week, and that'll be that. No one's. So this is fucking up all sorts of release plans. Wasn't there I feel like there was a game that was bumped up once GTA 6 was announced that it was being released in May. Or did I dream that? Is that just me completely dreaming something up? Wasn't there like a big release that was moved, like they had scheduled it for May or something, and they moved it up when they heard that GTA 6 was being released in May? I could be. I could have been just like completely dreaming this. Could be completely dreaming this. I just realized the music was really loud. Apologies. Glad no one said anything. You know, are very polite. Well, let me check. Let me check. GTA 6 May release. Video game bumped up, I guess. I don't know. No, I'm not gonna find this. Now everything's talking about the delay. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm looking forward to Resident Evil 9. They did a good job recentering the series, I find. I thought that I felt like after Resident Evil 5, even at Resident Evil 5, I wasn't too crazy about the direction the series was taking. You know, with Boulder punching Chris Redfield. I wasn't quite excited with how things were going. I was a big Resident Evil fan, and then I sort of fell off. I never played Resident Evil 6 because it looked like ass. I really did. I was not into it. And I played Village. That was pretty rad. That rocked. That was actually really, really good. Now 6 is super ass. Like, it's really, really ass. But yet, like, that's the thing that happened, right? Is like Resident Evil was like, you know, looked at Outlast, Amnesia. That's the word that's the one I was looking for. Looked at Amnesia, which was like bringing back survival horror kind of to its roots, and looking at all these little indie developers doing survival horror better, like, than the granddaddy of survival horror, right? Or the grand uncle, depending on how you know, how anal you want to be about this. And then they were like, well, we have to do better. We have to do better. So yeah, but that was awesome. Lady D was such a good villain. She was so good. I was kind of taken aback that she was not like going to be like the main antagonist for the entire game. It's like she's the chapter 1 final boss, and you're like, oh, that's it, we're done. Well, that's it, we're moving on. Okay, sure. Village was good. Village was very good. It was a lot of fun. Really tense. I think up until that point, my favorite Resident Evil game was Alien Isolation. Up until that point. I mean, like, modern Resident Evil game. Because my last favorite one was Resident Evil 4. And I will maintain this. And you're just going to have to trust me on this one if you've never done it. Resident Evil 4 on the Wii is the best version of Resident Evil 4. I didn't play the remake, mind you. But the motion control, the reloading, the nunchuck works perfectly. It's so much fucking fun. It's so much fun. That it is the definitive version of Resident Evil 4. It's a blast to play. I love Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 3 is probably like it was my favorite until 4. And they're kind of like a 1A 1B type of place in my heart. I think they're two great games. Man, when I was playing that, I'd go to sleep at night and I swear I could hear like stores. Like, just, that's all I swear I could hear that. I played that game so much. It was so much fun. Plus all the best characters, right? Jill, Leon in 4. Those are the best characters. Chris can go suck eggs. Chris Redfield, especially later in the series, he's just a goon now. He's just a goon. He's just a goon. Chris Redfield can go fly a kite, as far as I'm concerned. Can kick rocks. All right. We get around to talking about some pro wrestling. It's a weird week. It's been a weird 2 weeks for news and stuff. There's not much going on, like really interesting as far as, you know, topics to discuss and whatnot. I think there's been some very good wrestling happening, because you know, as proof of that, I should say, as proof that there has been some really good wrestling happening, I went ahead and did it, and I started a series of, I guess, which I'm calling the review grab bag. And it's kind of like what I've been talking over the past few streams. It's like, I'll continue watching all the wrestling, well, all of it, you know, all the wrestling that I watch, and I'll start taking, you know, I'll start reviewing some, you know, random matches that I don't cover when I do a full show review, right? So you probably won't hear, AEW matches in those things because I review every pay-per-view and I review every Dynamite, unless we get into a collision or something like that, which is possible. But, don't expect to hear many AEW stuff. But see, this week alone, I've got some Deadlock Pro matches. I've got some Stardom matches. And are you ready for this? An MLW match. I've got a Major League Wrestling match that I'm covering in the very first edition of the Grab Bag. And I enjoyed it. I had a good time doing it. It was, it's very loose, very free form, kind of like, usually typically what I do. But, I settle in and I talk about the wrestling, and I try to avoid going into the business aspects, because I think there is legitimate fatigue out there for too much business talk in regards to pro wrestling, and I can see that to a degree, right? I agree with that to a degree, because I think there's a lot of people who aren't able to separate the business from the performance. I like to think I'm able to do that a little more, but there's a lot of people online, who will attribute, business success to quality, to good product, and that's not necessarily the case. So what I'm doing is basically just focusing on the matches, regardless of what's happening in a business space. What's happening, how many people did they draw? I mean, there's one match where I do talk about Mercedes Moné versus Persephone, and I do make a point of the attendance that was that show drew in Arena Mexico, if only because it was the biggest women's only wrestling match as far as attendance goes for the of the past 7 years. There's not a single women's only wrestling show that drew as much as they did in Arena Mexico a couple of Fridays ago. And I thought that was a big deal to underscore, especially considering the points that I was trying to make in the video. But it's I don't sit down like maybe what I do here or on the podcast, where I'm we're breaking down business aspects and so on and so forth. I really want to talk about the wrestling, because there's a lot of people who are saying, the wrestling reviewers, the wrestling pundits, they talk about all sorts of shit, but they never talk about the wrestling. And I kind of agree to a degree. I kind of agree. And I guess it's just me doing my little part. It's where it's well, look, these are going to be mostly focused on the matches themselves, as opposed to, going too deep in the weeds as far as business goes. And, no, was this a success? Did it draw? And so on and so forth. It's look, let's just talk about the matches in these little isolated bubbles. So I did that. And you're probably slapping your hands together and you're going, Warren, I am so excited to watch this first grab bag of wrestling reviews. And then you're scrolling up and down the channel right now. You're on your phone, you're on your desktop, and you're going, oh my God, I can't find it anywhere, Warren. Why can't I find it? Ha ha! That's because you're not a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Ha ha! Gotcha! You fell for it. I sussed you out. That means you're one of the freeloaders. No, I'm kidding. Well, you kind of, but that's all right. It's part of, it's not, you're not a freeloader if I'm expecting this, right? There you go. But right now, the grab bag is available in early access for members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. So if you want to get in on that ground floor right now, you want to check it out, you want to hear what you want to come and find out about some matches and discover some matches that maybe you haven't heard about, that you haven't seen yet. Well, here I am. Come on over. Just become a member. Just become a member of the channel. The link to join is right there. The button to join is right there, and you'll have access to it. If you don't, well, you can wait. It'll release eventually. I've got it scheduled for some time. I don't remember when. I just scheduled it and it'll pop up over, a few days. It's been since Wednesday? No, since Tuesday, right? I think so. It's been available for members since Tuesday. So eventually it'll come out. And then I say I had a Stardom match in there. I don't have a Stardom match in there. I have a Marigold match in there. That's right. Marigold, the coldest of promotions. But I got a match there. Yes, it is the Mayu Io Sky match. That I go through and review. So, but here's the trade-off. Here's the deal. I would love to get suggestions from you all in regards to matches that I should add to the grab bag. Maybe it's something that you saw recently, and hey, maybe it's an old match, which I'm absolutely going to throw in as well. Once in a while, I'll throw in an old match, not something that something that I feel maybe there's something we need to celebrate. Maybe it's an anniversary of a great match. Maybe an anniversary of a wrestler. Maybe there's just no anniversary and I felt like watching, the Holy Demon Army kick some ass. Maybe that, maybe it's like, hey, you know what? I had 47 minutes for a tag team match this week, so pulled up some old All Japan kind of thing. I want your suggestions. What would you like me to review? Can be a good match, just like it could be a stinkeroony. And final discretion is mine, of course, but it could be anything. It could be all anything at all. It would be my pleasure to check that out. I really want some feedback. I want you guys and gals and non-binary pals to let me know if you enjoy it and how good it is. And I just wanted to spur some conversation and whatnot. And there you go. There you go. So that's available right now for members only, but will eventually be available for everyone else in a few days or so. Warren reviews every Toru Yano match ever, even the ones before he became the what is it called? The sublime thief, what is it? I forget what he calls himself. I forget what he calls himself. The sublime exquisite thief or something like that. That'd be something. Anyway, so that's what's up on that end. Of course, the Dynamite review is out right now. I plopped down all my thoughts regarding last night's edition of AEW Dynamite. Got them all right there. So feel free to give that a listen to, but later, not right now. You can wait a little bit. And then, I'll be back. I'll be back streaming on Monday and the Mr. Warren Hayes show on Wednesday, and the cycle continues. It's a perpetual cycle of content. There you go. So there you have it. That's the rundown. That's the nitty gritty. Why don't you leave a like on this stream? Because I know you haven't. I see you. You have not left a like on this stream. It's the most out of character thing that I could ever do. It's just like pretending to be aggressive. And it's like, I'll punch you. I have never been, and this probably to the surprise of no one, I have never been in an actual physical fight. Like I said, probably to the surprise of no one, right? But I have never fought another human being with the intent of harming them or, showing dominance. You goof off with friends. That's all. That's something else. But really, really getting into it, to scrap, no schoolyard scraps, nothing. I truly am a vessel of peace in this world, as opposed to Jacques Molière, who will fuck you up in a second, brother.
Hi, I'm Jacques Molière. Just let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a nunchuck master. I represent NWA, Mountain State Wrestling.
Booyah! Hey, Patrick, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat, brother. Member of the channel on top of that. He gets to watch the grab bag. Patrick gets to watch the grab bag. No. No, I'm going to get struck. I'm not going to start playing Smiling Friends. That's the best way to get shut down in a flash these days. In the liner notes of the Dresden Dolls 2004 self-titled album, they state Jacques and his nunchucks were the inspiration for the song Going Operated Boy. That's really funny. Bravo. I appreciate that. That was this comment of the night. Can I pin this shit? What can we do with this? Yes, we can. There we go. That's the pin message of the night. That's a man who can squabble up. Just ask Adam Pearce. That's right. Adam Pearce had to join the WWE to get out of the crosshairs of Jacques Moliere. Thank you all for being here. Bit of a ragtag docket tonight. We've got some shit all over the place here. Let's do this. Still think that's funny. All right. So we're going to talk about Ridge Holland. What's his Menzies. Luke Menzies. I think that's how you pronounce it. Luke Menzies. This is who we're going to talk about for a little title and a little time. I was looking at chat and I got confused. Don't look at chat while you're talking, Warren. You're an old man. You're going to get confused. That's just how it goes. But we're going to talk about Ridge Holland here, who is has never been a favored subject here on the Mr. Warren Hayes show. It's not that he's, it's just like he's always been a guy and we never had much to say, and he was never really remarkable until WWE decided to not renew his contract. But there's been a little development. Unless you haven't been following this, we're going to talk about it through this article on the Figure 4 Online, The Observer, by our boy Josh Nason. Excuse me, Josh, for butchering your name. Ridge Holland's nightmare year continued to get slightly worse, according to a new report from Fightful Select. The outlet reported Wednesday being the November 5th, reported Wednesday that WWE had terminated Holland's contract early due to comments Holland made on social media, considering them a quote-unquote breach, according to the report. Despite being sidelined with a Liz Frank injury suffered in a September TNA match, Holland was told in October that his deal would not be renewed. The outlet didn't note when the effective date of the early termination is, but his contract was initially reported to be up on November 14. If it was done Wednesday, he would miss 9 days worth of pay. Holland took to X on Tuesday to say he felt, quote unquote, hung out to dry by WWE and that he never thought he would be unable to pay his mortgage. Here's a quote from Menzies here. I feel like I've just been hung out to dry after getting injured working for another company on behalf of WWE. Add to that my contract not being renewed, knowing that I wouldn't be able to wrestle for 7 months. This is brutal. Yes, they are taking care of the surgery and physical therapy, but let's be honest. That's the bare minimum after what we sacrifice for the company. Plus the possibility of having to get my neck fused too. Talk about getting totally fucked. I don't know why he censored himself. Was he afraid that his kids were going to read it? Anyway. Holland said 2 weeks ago that he may also need neck surgery. As he recovers from the post-Liz Frank surgery, WWE is expected to keep covering any costs, any related medical expenses. The 37-year-old is expected to be unavailable to wrestle for up to 7 months. He is married with a family of 5. Now, if we don't recall, Ridge Holland, back in October, did indeed say that he was probably going to be in need of neck surgery. In an update on social media, Ridge Holland says that along with his foot cast being removed, he's getting x-rays to ensure everything is healing well. However, he mentioned that he is also suffering from a neck injury and will get imaging to see if surgery is needed there. This is what he said in his video. Next Tuesday, I've got to go to Birmingham, Alabama to have the cast cut off, some more x-rays to make sure the foot's all good, and we can go possibly to partial weight bearing. The kicker is that prior to the foot, I had a neck injury that I was going to get imaging for. I got imaging for the post-foot surgery, and I'm going to Birmingham also to see the neck specialist. I mean, worst case scenario, I'll need surgery, and I'm hoping for the best case scenario, which is injections. But I'm having some nerve impingement, which is sending pain down my arm, so I'm a little bit apprehensive about what's going to happen because it's another kick in the balls, really. So I'll keep you posted. So this, of course, all started when he announced on social media himself that his contract was not going to be renewed, and basically saying that his contract was going to come to an end on November 14, where basically he said WWE was going to continue paying and whatnot. So we go back to our original story here. Look, this is fucking shitty. There's no two ways to go about it. You can't just like sit here and go, oh, well, fuck him. No, this is infinitely shitty. That they decided to no longer cover his medical expenses just because he started posting on social media. Now, if you were around a couple of streams ago when we listened to the David Otunga video where he was breaking down his old WWE contract in regards to the Andrade stuff, right? Where he was sort of breaking things down to sort of figure out, to explain, to make sure we all understood like what was the deal with the no competes in WWE contracts. He also mentioned, I don't know if you remember, he was also mentioning as part of the causes for being fired, you also agreed to not say anything disparaging as long as you were still receiving like monetary compensation. I don't remember exactly what the terminology was, but like there's still there is a clause in WWE's contract that says, well, we can fire once you're done, we will continue to pay you, but you cannot comment on anything related to the company as long, otherwise you'll be in breach of contract. And I think this is what they're calling for, where he's giving updates, right? Where he's giving updates on his injuries and saying, the company is still going to pay for my surgery, and he said, I'm thankful for the experience and all that on the day that he announced that he was released and so on and so forth. What is their fucking problem? What is this fucking company's fucking problem? A company which, by the way, I don't know if you heard, recorded over $400 million revenue in quarter 3 of 2025, which was it was a ridiculous growth rate. I can't remember off the top of my head, but just like preposterously high. And they're going to start fucking around with this dude who has done everything that this company has ever told him to do, even go wrestle in TNA for fuck's sake, right? And they're going to be like, yeah, you know what? We're no longer paying for your shit because you went on social media and you started talking. It's not as if he started shooting. It's not as if, this isn't a CM Punk situation where he goes on the Colt Cabana podcast and empties his guts and gets everyone, in legal trouble with WWE, right? Like it's not this type of situation. He's just saying, you know what? This is kind of annoying, but I'm going to pull through and whatnot. And they're mad. They're just mad at him. That is some fucked up bullshit. That is really some fucked up bullshit for what happened here. And again, like this is a guy that, Ridge Holland, as far as Ridge Holland, the professional wrestler goes, he could come and go. I really, I've never had any attachment to him. I don't know. I have never met a Ridge Holland fan. I've never met anyone going, yeah, Ridge Holland, with a t-shirt, buying the action figure. Was there even an action figure? Or, playing WWE 2K. Rich Holland's my main. Was he even in the game to begin with? See, like that's the things like just a vanilla guy with a very clear ceiling, right? And he hit that ceiling, and that's fine, and he had a nice little main roster run doing the thing with Sheamus and Pete Dunne, and there you go. And of course, the unfortunate situation with Big E where he injured Big E and Big E's career might be done. So, outside of that, ultimately outside of that, a harmless situation overall. Harmless pro wrestler, right? It's just a guy where you're like, oh yeah, sure. It kind of, it's the kind of guy we'll talk about in years from now. Remember Ridge Holland? Yeah, I do actually. But outside of my own feelings here, and how his career went, this fucking stinks. This fucking stinks. And this company, this juggernaut media company, shouldn't be penny pinching to this point off of medical rehab for a guy who spent, how long was he? I'd say at least 6 years, right? He's at least been 6 years in this system. And, again, maybe not the most decorated or recognizable dude, it's like that, that's fine. But nonetheless, you kind of, he did everything. He's been in the system since 2018. Okay? He's been in the WWE system since 2018. Let's be real here. And you're just going to discard him because he went on social media and he started talking about his injuries. As far as I know, he hasn't been disparaging to anyone. I don't think he's been awful to anyone. I mean, it's extremely, chat says it, right? Extremely petty. And here's for a company, let's put this in perspective. This is what we cannot lose sight of. This company made over $400 million Within 3 months this year, in quarter 3, they made $400 million. Not over the year, not half the year, just 3 months in the year. And they are going to, they're going to be like fucking Scrooge, sitting at his desk, counting the pennies out of the little velvet pouches. Gonna get all the little coins out, all the little all the pence, what they call it, right? Over a guy just who needs to be rehabilitated because he got injured while fucking working for you. That's insane. That's insane. That makes no fucking sense. TKO is really an awful company, but we knew this was going to happen. Right? I don't think there was any question that we knew that this was going to happen when they purchased WWE, because just look at how they handle UFC. Just look at how this company handles UFC. It has been handling UFC for years. How can anyone really be surprised? My feelings right now are not as much as, they're not surprised as much as disgust. Even if I'm not entirely surprised, I can still be, I can still think that this fucking sucks. I can't emphasize that enough. That is so bad, so wrong. Poor guy. I legitimately feel bad for the guy. And here's the other thing. Now that there's a GoFundMe that has been set up, right? There's a GoFundMe that's been set up. I think it's one of his neighbors or a family friend who set up the GoFundMe, and like it's $60,000 they're looking for. Can you imagine? $60,000 is what we're estimating for this guy's rehabilitation, and TKO is going poo poo. Do you know how much of a fucking drop in the bucket $60,000 is for these people? 60,000. That's nothing for them. Like it's not even spare change. It's like stuck between the cushions. It's preposterous. And in this same GoFundMe, the person who started it up sort of listed like everything that had happened, so on and so forth. And they outright said that even that before being fired, Ridge Holland had taken a 55% pay cut. He left when they said, we're done with you on main, we're sending you back to NXT. They clearly reverted him back to an NXT contract. And they were like, well, this is the money. And this is the money that goes along with an NXT contract. And the guy had to take it. Otherwise, what is he going to do? Get nothing at all? Like he said, he's got 5 kids. He's got family to feed. He's got a mortgage to pay. So he has to take it, and he's got no leverage because it's Ridge Holland. He's got no leverage because he's got nothing to lean on. He's never made a mark in the company. Like, he's entirely replaceable. They know it. So they're like, well, we'll send you back to NXT, but you're going back on an NXT contract. 55%. A 55% pay cut. That is insane. That is just crazy. I can understand taking a cut, being moved from the major leagues to the minor leagues, but holy fucking shit, dudes. Of course, The family friend could be embellishing for all we know. Don't get me wrong. Right? She could be, is it 45% or is it 50% or is it 55? Whatever, it's a hell of a pay cut to take. Like if you had taken a 10% pay cut, we wouldn't be mentioning this, right? You wouldn't be adding that in your GoFundMe. You know what I mean? You wouldn't be adding, oh, he had to take a 10% pay cut. 10%. Okay. All right. No big deal. It's like, all right then. That's fine. But, higher numbers like this, woof. Woof. That's insane. Like, that is fucking insane. Utter mistreatment. It's disgusting, really. I fucking hate it. I hate it. And I don't, like I said, like, I have no attachment to Ridge Holland as a performer. I have never been a fan of his work. It's mostly a guy where I'm like, ugh, all right. Let's get it over with kind of thing. It's like, he never stood out. Never a guy, when they brought him up to main and was like, Ridge Holland, really? All right. It is what it is. Don't get me wrong. But that's preposterous. That is just preposterous, ridiculous behavior. Not just the contract, but saying, "Oh, we're not going to pay you because you're being a blabbermouth on social media," when he hasn't been saying anything scandalous. Fuck this. Fuck them. Fuck them. And I hope he gets more than enough money in his GoFundMe to sustain him and his for a while. Look, we'll keep an eye on the developments regarding old Ridge here, but hopefully he gets everything settled and can push through this. The prescription, nice to see you and welcome to the chat. I feel like the last few firings have been examples made to keep the locker room in line. Andrade was the other. Andrade was not an example. Look, I know like right now Andrade is garnering a lot of sympathy for what's happening. And again, this is another thing that sucks. Don't get me wrong, okay? It's another thing that sucks because this is someone who is under a 1-year NDA or non-compete, excuse me. And that is unenforceable and insane. That is an insane that is an insane approach to not be able to do anything in your field of work, earn a living in your field for a year. It's insane and unenforceable. But nonetheless, this is where we are. Despite the fact that he has this level of sympathy, which I think everyone can relate to, I'm gonna stick with what I told you all when Tony Khan decided to bring him on board before we learned all of this stuff that ensued. Andrade is a complicated dude, and he comes with baggage, and I don't think he is worth. I don't think the Andrade the person is worth the squeeze of Andrade the performer. I 100% still stand by what I said there. It sucks that he can't perform. Don't get me wrong. That he can't work, that's wrong. But he comes with a lot of a lot, like, not like multiple, a lot, a lot of things. I'm really expressing myself like a champ tonight. He comes with baggage. He comes with baggage, and I don't think he's worth the squeeze for the disruptions that he can cause. I am not into it, brother. I don't think he was an example. They really wanted to get rid of him. Because if it was just him taking performance enhancers, let me tell you, there's a couple of others on that roster who should be gone as well. If it's not performance enhancers, well, that's a whole other story. And then why would Tony Khan bring him on board? See, like, anyway, I don't want to get into an Andrade thing. I don't. Nope, not tonight. Not tonight, Satan. Nick Khan says they can always make more money. Yeah, exactly. Good. You know, they're just starting raising ticket prices, right? Isn't that what they said? How was the McMahon era more humane? I don't know. I've never heard of anyone being released by WWE who suddenly had their contracts cut too short. I don't know. I've never heard that. And please, we are absolutely not doing TKO versus Vince era, which was better. We're not doing that. Like, I know what you're trying to say, Vince is no business. He's not a businessman who was pro worker, who looked out after the boys, and no, he looked after the people that made him money, and pretty much everyone else was expendable in his eyes. We're not going to start doing that, right? I understand what you mean when you say, I think what you mean is that why, TKO is not suddenly changing how WWE operated with its talent, really. That's what you mean. And I will agree to a degree, because I think WWE will, because I think TKO is more ruthless than Vince ever was. I think that's the thing. TKO really doesn't give a fuck about anyone unless you're really one of the 4 guys on the WrestleMania poster. I really do believe that, though. I hope he can sue WWE. I mean, they have an army, a legal army. And good, best of luck to him. Oh, it's Doc. Oh, that's right. I see. How you doing, Doc Lariat? It's good to see you, brother. See, because your logo was so small. It's recognizable, but it's very tiny, and I couldn't make it out. But now that I know it's you, it's like, hello. Oh, maximizing shareholder value is their priority. DGMC, nice to see you and welcome. Welcome, member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel on top of that. It's good to see you. Please don't call you. You don't want anyone to call you by your legal name? All right, we won't. Ezekiel. All right, so that's where we're at with Ridge Holland. Let's move on. Let's pull up something else here. Let's take a look. Let's talk. Oh my God. Okay. This is actually it's borderline a comedy of errors. There's something really funny about all of this stuff here. Not again. Let's talk about the AEW national title. I'm sorry, I cannot not but find this humorous. There's something very pro wrestling. It's like this is the quintessential messy pro wrestling drama that I think a lot of us really, really, really like. And it doesn't involve pro wrestlers or, pro wrestlers getting fired, and so on. And you kind of feel bad and you don't want to take too much glee in the chaos. But this 100% is exactly this type of chaotic, messy pro wrestling drama that I am into. Okay, we've got some stuff to talk about, folks. So last night on Dynamite, on November 5th, AEW revealed that they were creating the national title. Okay, let's read this article once again off the Figure 4 Online. It's again our boy Josh. Initially announced prior to Wednesday's Dynamite by AEW head Tony Khan, the inaugural champion will be decided in a casino gauntlet match at this month's AEW Full Gear. Khan appeared on an X stream alongside Tony Schiavone, saying that he has missed seeing the national championship on TBS TV, as the original NWA version dates back to Georgia Championship Wrestling and eventually makes its way to Mid-Atlantic. The title was merged in 1986 in a unification bout that took place between then United States champion Nikita Koloff and then national champion Wahoo McDaniel in a bout Koloff won. The merged title became the U.S. title that currently resides in WWE. Khan said he wanted to have the title for a long time, so he was bringing it back. He said it will be defended across multiple promotions like Ring of Honor and New Japan Strong, in addition to AEW. Anyway, I don't think New Japan Strong is going to be a thing anymore. But yeah, the first several men announced for the match are Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and Ricochet. The three men, in addition to MVP and the Gates of Agony, had a verbal confrontation on Dynamite as their feud continues. It's the fourth title Khan has introduced this year, including the AEW Women's World Tag Team titles, the AEW Unified titles, the merged Continental and International title, and the Ring of Honor Women's Pure title. Did we all see this little stream here? Should we play it?
It's great to see you again.
Good
I'm
to see
here
you too.
Backstage at Wednesday Night Dynamite with my great friend, Mr. Tony Schiavone.
Tony.
Pat, Tony. It's amazing. It's really amazing. Have you noticed, by the way, Tony Khan now, his gimmick is he holds a coffee cup, right? Every time he's on camera now, he's got a coffee cup in his hand. Have you noticed this? Come on, X. I'm pressing the space bar. Why aren't you playing? Every fucking media player on planet Earth pause and plays when you hit the space bar. This site is such
What an
trash.
exciting show it's going to be. We had a very exciting conclusion to last week's Fright Night Dynamite, Tony. And we're about to get kicking off minutes from now on TBS, the Superstation, and on HBO Max with Wednesday Night Dynamite.
Yeah.
It's our final Dynamite before next.
I got to tell you, he's a good promoter. He's got his head screwed on tight for this stuff, always making connections. He's good at what he does.
Next week's Blood and Guts show. Earlier, I made an announcement that was, frankly, bittersweet announcement about the Blood and Guts match and having to make a change to the lineup. And I had a more positive.
We're talking about Queen Aminata here. If you've probably already heard by now, Queen Aminata is not. She's not cleared to wrestle. She's pulled out of last night's match, the Blood and Guts match, and she even pulled out of the Deadlock Pro match that she had lined up too, which sucks because she's the women's champion now. So that's awful.
Exciting announcement to talk about.
Because, yeah, quite frank, and I said it on, look, I'll say it here. I said it on the Dynamite review, and I'll say it here. Mina Shirakawa replacing Queen Aminata is a downgrade.
And you're going to be going out there on Dynamite to talk about this minutes from now on TBS and HBO Max. And as you know, Tony, it means so much to me to be able to do wrestling here on the Superstation TBS with you.
Always into the history.
I'm so proud of it because I grew up watching wrestling on TBS and I grew up watching you on this channel, and it's really cool.
Tony's like, shut up, I'm not that old. Like at some point, Tony's gonna be like, God damn it.
Being able to work here with you. It means
is that really Shivani? Like, that's the thing now. Everyone, when they meet Shivani, they're all gonna yank. They're gonna try and Scooby Doo him, right? They're gonna be like, yeah. They're gonna try and do that now.
A lot. And I have to say, one of the great traditions in wrestling, and something I'm really, really, something I've missed seeing on TV, Tony, is the national championship. The national championship goes back, I believe, to when Georgia Championship Wrestling appeared on TBS, the Superstation. It goes back to before I was even born.
Austin Idol was the very first NWA national champion.
And if I'm correct, Tony,
who was still affiliated with the current day NWA, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I haven't watched the NWA in a while now.
National title came to work with you when Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling and Georgia Championship Wrestling merged?
Yeah, in 1985, we merged. Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Georgia Championship Wrestling merged. And there was a U.S. championship and there was a national championship. And these two championships together were put together one match at the Omni back in 1986.
Koloff versus Wahoo.
And it became the U.S. championship. So,
and as Josh Nason mentioned, the merge created the U.S. title that is currently in WWE. That's the lineage.
We haven't had a national champion in almost 40 years, Tony.
Wow. 39 years, over 39 years since there was a national champion here on TBS. I think it's a great tradition. Also, there's promoters all over the country looking to book the top AEW stars.
All right. The question that I have, though, well, we'll get to it. Is I just keep in mind, like, the merging of the titles, right? That's the important thing. Just remember that the national title and the U.S. title is supposed to be merged. We'll get to this in a second. I want to watch the rest of this.
And there's wrestlers all over AEW chasing gold, and it's a tradition that goes back and something I have always wanted to have here in AEW, and something for years that I've wanted to bring back here to TBS. And since we have the chance to do these kinds of things, to create these kinds of memories, to create these kinds of lasting legacies in pro wrestling, I've wanted to bring the national title back for a long time, and we're going to be bringing the national title back. You're going to be talking more about it on TBS minutes from now, but I can tell you there's going to be, at AEW Full Gear, a casino gauntlet match to determine who will go out on TBS, who will be the first national champion on the Superstation since 1986.
Just for the record, and again, I said this on the Dynamite review, I hate this. I don't like it. Make a proper champion. Build someone up. Don't just like fucking drop a tournament or not a tournament, but a gauntlet match, the battle royal. I don't like it.
It's going to be a very prestigious opportunity to
see prestigious. How? No, not really. I don't buy it anyway. Maybe, but I don't buy it.
Be the national champion. I've spoken to other promoters. I know my friends at New Japan Strong are anxious to bring an AEW national champion to defend the title in New Japan.
I'm sure.
I know in Ring of Honor, we would love to see the AEW national champion make.
Wow, he talked to his partners in Ring of Honor
appearances, and of course here on Dynamite, on Collision, a national champion could be a great thing, and it's going to be great bringing the national title back to the Superstation after all these years. And you will be out there on Dynamite minutes from now on TBS, where it all began, and you'll be out there talking about who some of the participants in this casino gauntlet match are going to be.
Look forward, because if you think about the national championship, the great wrestlers who held the national championship, Wahoo McDaniel was the last one to hold the national championship. Tommy Rich held the national championship. As we know, Paul Orndorff, some of the great names in wrestling. You've always been about tradition. TBS,
Dusty,
national championship. That's a lot of tradition right there, Tony.
It's a great tradition. There have been some great national champions. You mentioned some of the great ones. And again, when you have a title that's got this kind of prestige, this kind of lineage.
Didn't mention Austin Idol. He was the first. What about Austin Idol?
Lineage, great champions like those, great champions like Dusty Rhodes. You had Jack Briscoe, and like you said, Paul Orndorff, Tommy Rich, Ted DiBiase, so many great wrestlers to hold the national title. And I can't think of a better way to bring it back to pro wrestling than right here on TBS, the Superstation, and with you, Tony Schiavone, talking about it. And it all is happening very soon. Wednesday Night Dynamite begins minutes from right now. It all kicks off 8 p.m. Eastern,
He's great.
7 p.m. Central on TBS and HBO Max.
You can make fun of Tony Khan as much as you like for a bunch of things, but he's an excellent promoter. He hits all the beats. He repeats the information over and over again and makes sure that it's drilled into your head. He's very good at what he does. Anyway, that we don't need to watch anymore. He's about to, sell us on Dynamite, and Dynamite's already happened. All right, let's take a look here. Anyone think the national title could be part of an angle? There's just so many comically ridiculous aspects to the title. A national title defended internationally, who also already a title in NWA. I don't know. It's part of an angle. I don't think Tony Khan wants to do. He wants to use his presence to do angles anymore. I think he did the thing with the Bucks and the neck brace, and I think he got a little clap back for that. I don't think so. Tony Schiavone has great hair dye. Does he dye his hair? I mean, maybe. But does he dye his hair? Looks good. I agree, though. I agree. If he does, it's tremendous. It is very good. Sure love Casino Gauntlet matches. I would. After the All-In one, and I still stand by that, I was ready for a moratorium on Casino Gauntlet matches for a long time because I didn't think it was all that great. And I figured, you know what, just holster that one and bring it back at some point when you can deliver some really cool surprises and whatnot. Because I don't know, maybe we will have some cool surprises at Full Gear. But we gotta, the last couple that we had the tag team one. You remember the tag team one, which was a little, and the one at All In it just didn't click. I don't know. That's just me, of course. Johnny, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Next, AEW going to create a women's trios title, the quadruple titles, a local title, and a state title. I don't know why. I'm not bothered with the amount of titles that exist in AEW. I think it's fine. I don't think they're overdoing it. I really don't. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I just question why. I question why they do it. But that's a whole other thing. I think this was the whole rib to get someone to shit on Joey Janela. Fair.
We'll see you all.
Yes, we'll see you all later. Now, here's the one exercise that I want to do with you all here. We're going to go to Cage Match, and we're going to take a look at the... if I can pull it up like this straight. Yeah, National Championship. Whatever was screwing up between Cage Match and Google has been fixed now, and that's tremendous. The National Championship, that's Extreme Zone Wrestling. That's not it. That's not it at all. That's not it at all. NWA National Championship. Now we're talking. Currently held by Mike Mondo, who you may remember from the Spirit Squad. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I don't understand, right? It's like this title has the lineage, right? This title has the lineage. So when they merged the title, when was the match? When was the match? Because you see, it was retired for a while. See, that's it. See, right here. So it's Nikita who has the title, who wins the title off of Wahoo, and then they merge the titles, right? And we don't see anything regarding the national title until 1997, when it is won by Big Slam in one of these revivals of the NWA, right? I like the did the NWA just decide to reactivate the national title? That's probably just it, right? And then remove the national title lineage from the WWE US title lineage. And this would have been even before WWE took over. This was still when this was all happening when WCW was still around, and WCW was carrying the US title at that time, right? So do both titles then have an identical lineage up till September 1986? Do you think we can find that out? Oh, is this treated as two different titles on top of that? Oh, look. Okay. It is, they are treated like two different titles. See, I did not know this. The WCW United States Championship became inactive in 2001. See, I did not know this. I thought the current U.S. title that they used was the one with the story, but with the lineage, but apparently not. And yeah, it would seem it was the 1986, we said, right? For the national title when they did the merge. So it would seem that it just continued, that it was indeed this lineage, the WCW. It was the WCW championship, United States Championship, that continued. That's very, very interesting. So if we go here, look, yeah, went a little too far. Yeah, Eddie Guerrero winning it. Isn't that interesting? That's very, very interesting. I did not know that. So I guess the national title that we have now, if based off of the cage match information that we have here, is indeed the one that is connected to the original NWA title, national title, but it completely disregards its merged history with the US title. It was retired when they merged the titles, but then was reactivated later on, and Doug Gilbert held it, and Stevie Richards, pinnacle of his career right there. He had Tully and Dusty and Buddy Landell and Terry Taylor, Black Bart, Ron Garvin. It's fantastic. It really was a who's who, right? Like these are all names. These are all people. These are all great wrestlers. So okay. So based off of that, right? There's I do have some questions though. Hey, Kristen, nice to see you, darling. Welcome to the chat. You member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, you? Hello. Wink, wink. Okay, so if we go back to our national title discussion here. So so they were talking, they being Tony Khan was talking about, reintroducing the title with its lineage and whatnot. And, not its lineage, but bringing the title back and associating this new title with the lineage of great wrestlers in the past of the NWA national title. But there is right now, and as you saw in the cage match profile, there is right now an active NWA national title, which just so happens to be the NWA national title that that existed back in the day, that has the lineage. So, that made a lot of people very curious then, where it's like, hang on a second, wait a minute. Wait a second. Why is Tony Khan out here saying, that, we want to connect this with the past, and you've got MVP in the ring talking about Nikita Koloff and Wahoo and, Paul Orndorff. And you're like, this is not that title. It cannot be that title, because that title exists in another promotion. It exists still in the NWA, because this is one of the intellectual properties that came to Billy Corgan when he bought the NWA. When he made the purchase, he got access to all of this, and he reactivated the national title, a few years ago. So, it begs you to wonder, did Tony Khan just not know? I'm pretty sure he's not necessarily keeping abreast of the comings and goings in the National Wrestling Alliance in 2025. But do you think that maybe he just doesn't realize that there's a national title out there, and that it's actually being defended and whatnot? Because it was made pretty clear, right? It was made pretty clear when Mike Mondo, who is the current NWA national champion, when he jumped in and basically responded to all to the announcement of the creation of the national champion. Let's read again this article off of Figure 4 Online, The Observer. This NWA champion, national champion, Mike Mondo responded to the creation of AEW's latest title with a social media post on Wednesday night calling out AEW owner Tony Khan by name. AEW introduced their version of the national championship on Wednesday's Dynamite and announced that the inaugural champ will be crowned in a casino gauntlet match at Full Gear with Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, the first wrestlers set to compete in the bout. Mondo, who has held the NWA national title since the promotion's anniversary show in August, wrote on X, formerly Twitter, of course. This is the quote here. "Let me be clear. There is only one NWA, and there is only one prestigious national championship that holds legit lineage and has for decades. So to Tony Khan or anyone else confused, here's the legit title with the company it belongs to and the legit national champion. My name is Mike Mondo." I love this line here. I love this line. Who wrote this? Ethan Renner. I love the Mondo 42 is perhaps best remembered as a member of the Spirit Squad in WWE in the 2000s. Like that. That's kind of like it's a Punk was never asked type of line. It's like, oh, by Mike Mondo? Yeah, he was that one guy in the Spirit Squad. So fucking funny. So that's the thing. Got pretty heated on that level, and so look, I'm not necessarily saying that we need to give the benefit of the doubt to Tony Khan. Like, I would assume that Tony Khan is aware of this. Like, I'm not legitimately saying, well, Tony Khan probably doesn't know, right? Like, I'm being semi-facetious because he has to know. Like, there's someone in his entourage, right, that has had to tell him, Tony, the national title that you want to do, it exists in the NWA. It's actually active right now. Like, there's someone around him at the very least who knows. I'd be very shocked if this was like, I wasn't aware. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. But here's something that came up again. God bless. Hey, Big Man Dogs, nice to see you and welcome. Well, you can God bless Big Man Dogs, but I didn't want to say God bless Big Man Dogs. But God bless Big Man Dogs nonetheless. But in this context here, God bless Brendan Thurston, who had this little report, dug in a little bit here into all of these happenings here, with this article over in WrestleNomics that states that has the following title: AEW's new national title arrives amid a separate trademark dispute with NWA over Shockwave. Let's see what Brandon had to write here. AEW's new national championship title announced on Dynamite on Wednesday quickly caught attention, not just because it will be roughly the 12th belt for the promotion, but he's including Ring of Honor here, of course, but because the title shares a name with the championship in a prior incarnation of the National Wrestling Alliance in the 1980s, as well as the current version of the NWA under Billy Corgan's leadership. AEW's introduction of the title, whose first champion is to be decided at the company's Full Gear pay-per-view on November 22, also coincides with a separate ongoing dispute between AEW and the NWA over a different name, Shockwave. At least one NWA wrestler claimed on social media that the introduction of the new title by AEW was retaliation over the Shockwave trademark litigation. The NWA has used that name for some of its wrestling events as early as 2020. AEW has tried to trademark the name last year, possibly for a new television program, which has not launched. And I just realized it's not on the doc. Let me see here if I can get the tweet from said professional wrestler who had something to say about this. That's around. Here it is. I think I got it. Wait a second. Yeah, because I really don't want to. I think we won't have a choice. Because it's Brian Idol, who is with the NWA. He's a talent, but he also works for the NWA, right? And he maybe we can get his comments without going on to Ringside News, which will just make me feel dirty. Let me see here. Okay, this is what he said here. This is the tweet that Brian Idol. I can talk. I promise. I know English. I know all the words, the best words. I don't give a shit about bridge burning or whatever people say I am. No, hang on. I got to read this over again because the punctuation is kind of not there. This is from Brian Idol, NWA talent, and also, guy who works. He's in the inner workings of the company as well. I also don't give a shit about bridge burning or whatever. People say I am 100% the NWA, and I'll never stand for anybody trying to steal this from us or do us dirty, and I would show up in person and defend this honor against all consequences anywhere, any place, anytime. Now, I think the unfortunate thing is that we are unfortunately going to have to go to Ringside News, and I apologize for that. I'm very, very sorry. But this is where he left his comments. He sort of went off on Tony Khan. He went off on Tony Khan. We are now at the point where 2 televised wrestling promotions have resorted to using the NWA for relevance in the same week. Could it be that, as usual, we are winning way more than anyone gives us credit for? We are only getting started. The NWA has so much more to show you. And talking about Tony Khan here, he says, Tony, this is beneath you. Stick to what made you famous. Small, weird hands in the pocket wrestlers and other local VFW guys that you put in main events. Stop being petty, bro. I don't think anyone in the NWA should be calling out other promotions for using VFW guys, but let's move on. In another post here, Idol referenced NWA legend Austin Idol, who originally held the NWA National Championship, and accused Khan of trying to co-opt wrestling history for AEW's benefit. Austin Idol is the first ever national champion and basically the creator of it all, and he is still active in the NWA. Then he fired one more shot, mocking Khan's wealth, and suggested that AEW is attempting to buy legitimacy instead of earning it. Dude is richy rich, and it's not enough. He's bought his way in. Now he's got to steal legacies. Unreal. Like this is the main reason why people are really upset at get upset at Tony Khan, is because, it's like, oh, he bought his way into the business. And, how else do you think promoters in the past did things? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So this is basically the wrestler that Brandon Thurston is referencing here. So if we continue a little bit on the article that Brandon had here. AEW and the NWA did not respond to our request for comment on this report. Our questions to AEW included asking whether the company has any response to the claims that the new title's name was chosen as a retaliatory move. We also asked whether AEW still has any intent to use the Shockwave name, because that's the impression that the NWA seems to be putting forward here, is that due to the litigation, that this is a response to the litigation that they're involved in regarding the trademark for Shockwave, and that this is simply AEW being petty. So, maybe but we don't know because no one's going on the record to say it. In its announcement, AEW referenced the title's origin in the territorial era of wrestling, when the belt was prominent in then NWA member promotions like Georgia Championship Wrestling, when the belt was seen in the 1980s on TBS, the network Dynamite airs on today. The NWA National Champ title has been revived at various times since it last appeared on TBS and is being used today by the NWA. The championship is currently held by Mike Mondo, who complained on social media about AEW's announcement on Wednesday night. Notably, we could not find any trademark registrations or applications by AEW, the NWA, or any other entity to protect simply national championship or any variation that may be tied to a championship title belt. That isn't surprising, since the phrase may be considered descriptive and has been used across decades by various entities before Corgan's underlying Lightning One Inc. entity took on the NWA name. That may make it especially difficult to register and enforce as a trademark if either company wanted to. So the trademark dispute between AEW and the NWA is over the Shockwave name only. NWA wrestler Brian Idol claimed in his posts online that the introduction of the new AEW title is a response to the Shockwave dispute, which we're going to leave as such for now. I don't think I don't necessarily want to dive back into all of the, we talked about this months ago, and there really hasn't been any movement. If you want to get all the background on this, well, our boy Brandon Thurston has you covered over on WrestleNomics with this free post. So it's a little messier, I think, than what a lot of people expected here. Because when he announced the national title, I was like, oh, what? This is kind of weird. I think like a lot of people, it's like, oh, this is a title that's going to be defended, internationally and whatnot. I was like, why just call it the national title? Anyway, I know what they're referencing. I understand what they're doing. But then after that, it dawned on me. It was like, wait a second. This exists in the modern day NWA. Like, this is an actual title that exists in the NWA today. And, if the issue that we have here is that Tony Khan is trying to create a link to the NWA's past with this title, but it is an extremely tenuous link. It's not fantastic. It's not like something that you're like, oh yes, 1 + 1. It's a very tenuous link. And that's the core of the issue. Because if he had just called his title the national title, whatever, and just like, yeah, we're starting this title and woohoo, I don't think anyone would have, I don't think we'd be having this conversation. I don't think I'd be bringing up these details tonight on stream. But the fact that let me explain why. Because look, there as far as a title name goes, like we saw it when we were doing the cage match search earlier on, there are multiple other titles out there that are national titles, right? There are other U.S. titles or, world titles and so on and so forth, right? There's even been, New Japan had an intercontinental title, right? So, like names are names and it's whatever, right? It's, who cares? It's really the lineages that people do care about. So if you just called it the national title, we'd be all just like brushing it off and going, well, weird name, but let's move on. But the fact that he's really trying to co-opt the history of the original national title when the strap is still out there doing the work and still has its with its lineage very much alive, that I find is a little weird. That's a little strange. So I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna turn out. I guess I see the connection between Shockwave, AEW, and whatnot, but I thought this had just, like, I remember when the NWA challenged the trademark that Tony Khan had put out, right, for AEW Shockwave. And I remember when the NWA did that, the challenge, and I was like, oh, this will be interesting. But I never heard anything. There's never anything that came out of it. There wasn't anything that there was no follow-up. It didn't make any news. So I kind of feel like it was just maybe abandoned, which is probably the case because it's probably the case that it was abandoned, at least the name, the concept abandoned so far, because there has not been a third program like everyone was expecting to see. Well, we remember when everyone was thinking that Shockwave was going to be like a third show for AEW that was going to replace Rampage, but was going to be on Fox, on Fox proper. And that just never materialized. And right now, I don't think there's any signs that AEW is going to be producing an extra hour or more programming as it stands right now. At the very least, we don't know. So like I feel like it's kind of normal that the trademark talk for Shockwave sort of melted away. Like, look, and these are also pro wrestlers coming out and being angry and posting and getting all riled up. Maybe this has nothing to do. Maybe this has the Shockwave, the Shockwave trademark dispute, and this they're just completely unrelated, and it's just wrestlers being angry. You know what I mean? Which is absolutely, positively possible. You know, these are wrestlers. They're pro wrestlers. Let's not pretend that they're aware of all the intricacies of what's going on in their promotions. That's not necessarily the case. Yes, I understand. Idol works within the structure of the NWA, but look, I work in a structure in a company. I'm not aware what happens in the legal department. That's none of my business. So, and they don't know what's going on my end of things. So just because I work in the company doesn't mean that I know everything that's going on all the time. Thankfully, I don't. That'd be exhausting, and I should be paid more if I did. But in this circumstance specifically, to come back to this little nugget that we're chipping at, I think there's like the NWA wrestlers are raising a stink, and I think it's okay to do so because Tony trying to attach the lineage to this new title that he's creating is kind of preposterous, and it doesn't make any sense. And I would even go as far as to say that it's a little bit disrespectful. I'm not into it, and I would have figured that a guy like Tony Khan would be a little more sensitive to that. Unless, again, like the only thing that could explain this, where I would be satisfied with, is if Tony had no fucking clue that the NWA national title was still an active championship, that it was not dead, or that it was dead. That was the only way. This is the only way I could buy this. But I don't buy it. I don't buy it that Tony Khan didn't know, or that no one around him didn't raise a flag and say, hey, that title's being defended right now. Like there's someone in his entourage, in that fucking company someone that he talks to had to have told him, you know what, Tony, this title it's active right now. I don't know. I think it's being blown out of proportion for what it is. I think it's being blown out of proportion for what it is. I think the NWA is entitled to protect the legacy and the legacy of its championships. I completely endorse that. I think it's fine. Is it a retaliatory? Is AEW doing this in a petty retaliatory move for NWA sticking up for their Shockwave IP? I don't know. It seems like a stretch. I don't know, and I wouldn't bet the farm on a pro wrestler telling me that that's what it is. I think it's just a bunch of hooey. I just don't know. I'm going down that path. Maybe it is, but I don't think so. Could this have all been avoided if Tony had decided to just change the name of the title? Yes. Could it have been all avoided if he had just decided not to try and attach the history of a belt to this, of another belt to this new belt that he's making? Yes, absolutely. It's weird because I really feel like Tony should get this as a fan. I think he should have understood this, saw this coming. It's very strange. It's a strange little deal here. I was not expecting an NWA AEW feud over the lineage of the national championship. Wow. Okay. I did not have that on my bingo card at all. So yeah, it's it's a little strange. It's a little odd. We'll see how. But here's the ultimately here's the final thought on this, and it goes maybe a little. You have to pull back a little bit from the situation when you look at the whole scope of things, and you're like, why are we creating a new belt to do the things that the international belt and the international championship did? Right? You're like, the international championship is exactly how Tony Khan presented the national title. Was my partner promotions are gonna this belt will show up on partner promotions, will be defended around the world, so on and so forth, which is exactly what the international title was for. And previous to that, called the All Atlantic title. So why didn't we just reactivate that? I don't understand. I don't understand. All of this could have been avoided, and it's a bunch of nonsense. But here's the thing: it is some fantastic. It is some fantastic, messy pro wrestling drama. There are no victims here. There's no one to feel bad about. This is just great fucking nonsense, carny chaos that I love so much. And it had been a while since we'd had something just like this, right? It had been a while. I'm so glad. So we're obviously going to be keeping an eye on this as we move on. But yeah, I mean, look, what more is there to say at this point than it's a lot of nonsense. It's a lot of hooey. Well, there is to it. Mr. Antox, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Do you think Eddie Kingston not doing promos on TV are his choice? Probably not. I feel they might regret merging the international and continental titles. I more or less understand why they did it, outside of making Kazuchika Okada more and more impressive to AEW fans, right? Outside of that, I don't understand exactly what the logic is in that circumstance. I still don't quite get why they did it in the first place. Do you want Killer Cross in the gauntlet match and win the national title? No, I don't want Killer Cross in AEW. What are we talking about? No. No. Killer Cross is not a very good pro wrestler. It's fine. We don't need him. We really don't. Here's another guy who's like, oh, creative stories, and we no, absolutely not. Mike Mondo is very funny. He has a roid rage gimmick. Yes, he is. He is actually funny. Kind of makes you wonder how close to the guy this whole thing is. There's a bunch of slander about this song. Now, hang on a second. This is not what we discussed at all. But no, this is not it. Not it at all. Because it ends up on his podcast. No, that's not it. We discussed this, Kristen. You were okay with it. And you were like, of course. My God. We're not going to have music drama here. Let's watch some wrestling. Nice to see you and welcome. Also a member of the channel. Is Shockwave that great? A name just called it XX Explosion and move on, or Dark 2. No, it's not that great a name. It's not that it's to me, first of all, when you say Shockwave, that to me that's that's like, it sounds like a transformer to me. And I know I'm thinking about Soundwave. I know it's not Shockwave, but it sounds like a transformer to me. So I'm like, it doesn't even sound like, a program, a wrestling program. It's like, like AEW is already all over the place, right? It's like Dynamite, Rampage, Collision. Like, I guess it's all like things that are in motion, that create energy, Rampage, there's Collisions, there's Dynamite, and you could go down that road. You could just call it Lightning if you wanted, right? AEW Lightning. I kind of like that too, Call it. Look, if you really want to do a throwback, call it AEW Thunder. There you go. Then you had the TNA fans wanting to strangle Tony over the explosion name. This is true. That is true. That will happen. Yeah, I feel like calling it a national is a non-issue. What was weird funny was how AEW insinuated that it was a continuation of the NWA belt. Yeah, that's the good encapsulation of it all. That's really the encapsulation of it all. They could just call it AEW Storm or something. Exactly. AEW Surge. I don't know. It's just like, don't ask me. Don't ask me. All right, let's head back to our docket. Hope everyone's having a good time. And thank you very much for being here. How about some Wrestle Kingdom news? There's just some fantastic news that came out of a press conference that New Japan Pro Wrestling did earlier this week. Hiroshi Tanahashi made a big announcement regarding the Wrestle Kingdom 20, regarding the Wrestle Kingdom 20 attendance. I think we talked about how the Wrestle Kingdom 20 logo stinks, right? We've had this discussion. Yeah, I think we have. And then we started looking back at the history of those titles, and then it turns out that that all Wrestle Kingdom logos kind of stink, and it was the G1 logos that were actually pretty good. At a press conference on Tuesday earlier this week, which would have been the fourth. At a press conference on Tuesday, New Japan Pro Wrestling President Hiroshi Tanahashi announced that 31,548 tickets have been sold for the January 4 event in the Tokyo Dome. This comes after over 20,000 tickets were sold on the first day of sales on October 1st. That is impressive. This is immediately going to be the biggest, Wrestle Kingdom gate attendance. Not gate, but attendance since the pandemic. We're gonna have to go back to 2019, 2020 to see something even remotely close to those numbers, because some big numbers. 31,548 tickets is legitimately impressive. That's a huge deal, and I'm sure there's a lot of people in New Japan who are very much relieved that they're getting that big of a number. And look, let's not beat around the bush here. The final career match of Hiroshi Tanahashi is the draw for this. There's probably a lot of interest for Aaron Wolf, considering that he's a mass media personality in Japan. But it's nice and all that Yota Tsuji and Konosuke Takeshita are wrestling probably in the main event. That'll unless they decide to to have Hiroshi go on last. It's very net, but look, no disrespect to Yota Tsuji or Konosuke Takeshita. They are not drawing 31,000 people at this stage. They just absolutely not. And this is fantastic, right? Good for them. It'll be really interesting now to see what New Japan is able to do with this, a year from now, when it's time to start building Wrestle Kingdom 21, and we'll be able to see like what kind of effect, or any, will they be able to build stars within a year that will be able to reach these heights again. Not the way things are going right now, but hey, look, 31,000 tickets, that's insane. It turns out, by the way, I just want to note something here. The 20,000 tickets that were sold on the first day of sales, it's an impressive number, don't get me wrong, but it's a little skewed because from what I understand, the tickets had been on sale previous to the first official pre-sale, right? For the first day of sale, there had been tickets on sale open for members of the fan club, of the New Japan fan club. So they had early access to the tickets. I wouldn't say that there were 20,000 tickets that were sold on the first day, but it's certainly a non-negligible amount. Like, it was probably a lot of, it was probably a lot of tickets that were moved on the first day regardless. Like it wouldn't have been 20,000 members of wouldn't be 20,000 members of the fan club who suddenly got access to, that suddenly bought up all these tickets. Most likely not. It's still very, very interesting. Just wanted to put that out. Look, so far so good for New Japan on a card that right now, only a few matches are announced, right? We have like we mentioned, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match where Konosuke Takeshita is going to defend against Yota Tsuji. We have Evil versus Aaron Wolf. Evil will be defending his never openweight championship, and Aaron Wolf will be putting up his Olympic gold medal as well. So that's going to be something that's going to happen there. We're also going to have Saya Kamitani versus Shuri. Shuri will be defending the IWGP World Women's Heavyweight Championship. So that's tremendous. And of course, Hiroshi Tanahashi's, oh yeah, as Kristen pointed out, it's a winner take all match. That's right. So it's for the strong title, I think. It's strong title. It's not going to be for the Wonder of Stardom belt. It's going to be for the it's going to be the the strong women's title that is going to be up for grabs. Very interesting stuff. We might be getting another belt collector. Oh gee, oh my. And of course, Hiroshi Tanahashi and his mystery opponent, which still hasn't been announced yet and still has the potential to sell a bunch of tickets if they choose the right person. Yeah. So we still don't know. We still don't know who it is, which is wild to me. Look, I've been hearing some things. I've been hearing some things regarding who should be the opponent for Tanahashi. Who's it going to be? I should say. And look, it's chaos right now, and I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to drop a hint or do a pun. That's not it. It's just like it's a mess right now. There's a lot of parties involved. And look, they have to figure this shit out soon. Like they're at some point, someone is going to have to put their foot down and just say, it's this person here. And look, there's more names on the table than I thought there were. And names that I'm surprised. Names that I thought would not be even in consideration, but apparently no one's off the table. No one's off the table. So we'll have to we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on it. Like hopefully, man, look, they have to announce this soon. They can't keep stringing it along. Look, again, like I know why it's taking a while. Like from what I understand, there's so much stuff just like coming together. But yeah, I don't want to put stuff out there that might just change by tomorrow. That's the thing, is like things have been moving around so much that it's like, okay, you know, they're all solid plans. Everything, all the names I've heard, they're all solid. It's all, you know, it all makes sense. There's just you know, there's a preferred path. Anyway, look, I'm gonna stop talking about it because all I can do is be vague, and I don't want to do that because it kind of stinks. It kind of stinks to do that. So hopefully, what I am legitimately hoping, what I'm legitimately hoping is that this all gets settled, and that the final opponent can be announced this weekend. They have to do something at this point. They just gotta buckle down and do something. And honestly, listen, here's the thing. At this stage, right? At this moment, without even having announced an opponent for Hiroshi Tanahashi on his last night, they cracked 30,000 tickets sold. Okay? At this point, who cares? Put in Marco Stunt, okay? Who's, you know, call him and have him come in a nice little paid vacation away from the car dealership and Memphis Wrestling. Apparently now, I don't know if you heard about that. Anyway, that's something else. Like anyone else, it could be anyone else at this point, and it doesn't matter. They have the money, they have the people, right? Now, when I say anyone else, you know, I'm kidding, of course, with Marco Stunt. You want a quality opponent for Hiroshi Tanahashi. You don't want it to be a Kurt Angle, Baron Corbin situation, right? But the thing is that there are a lot of really interesting choices out there. Just settle on one. Just do it. At this point, whatever you pick will add a few more tickets, but this show is already a success. This show is already a financial success for the company. Don't worry. Don't worry so much. Just do it. Again, like I don't want to sound like I'm insensitive here. You know, Tanahashi probably wants someone special for his final farewell. Like Tanahashi is he's one of these wrestlers who fucking cries when at Wrestling 10 Bell salutes, and he cries when he sees a great match, and you know, he's gonna cry like a fucking baby at the end of his match. You know, he's just gonna break down. So, you know, he wants it to be special, and I understand that. And so he doesn't want, you know, Johnny Come Lately to come jump in there. He's not gonna take a young lion he's not gonna ask for a young lion to come take him out, you know, kind of thing. It's like, so, you know, we'll see how it goes. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. And in the meantime, look, to keep us busy, we've got World Tag League, which follows the tradition of recent tag leagues where I'm like, there's a lot of really interesting tag teams that have been put together, but I start watching it and I'm like bored to tears because it's I hate World Tag League. I don't like World Tag League. What will it take me to get involved in this? I don't know. I hate it. I can't stand it. It bores me to tears every time. But nonetheless, here are the tag teams. Again, interesting crop of teams. A block is going to have Bishamon, Bolton Oleg, and Toriano. Like right out the gate, you're like, what the fuck? Yoda Tsuji and Gabe Kidd, Evil and Don Fale, yuck. Taichi and Satoshi Kojima, who will be substituting for Tomohiro Ishii. Ishii got injured in a match in AEW and will not be able to compete in the tournament. Which has made New Japan fans really mad. El Desperado and Shuji Ishikawa, which I think is very interesting. Shingo Takagi and Drilla Maloney, which is also a very interesting tag team. And Yujiro Takahashi and Chase Owens, yuck! B Block has the Knockout Bros, Oscar, and Yuto Ice. Yuto Ice, who might just end up saving this promotion. And they are currently the IWGP Tag Team Champions. Zack Sabre Jr. and Ryohei Oiwa. That's fun. Lance Archer and Alex Zane, a.k.a. Monster Sauce, are back at it again. Good for Alex Zane. They like him in Japan. So good for him. Getting booked on another tour. Hiroshi Tanahashi and El Phantasmo will be teaming up there. Shota Umino and Yuya Uemura, which have already shown to be a good combination, a good little team. And should be slated as one of your favorites if you're into World Tag League. Dave Finlay and Hiromu Takahashi, okie dokie. Great O'Khan and Callum Newman, that's fine. And Ren Narita and Sanada, yuck. Jesus Christ, right? And this is all going to start in 2 weeks on November 20. And I am not into this. But like an interesting crop of tag teams. Don't get me wrong. Like it's an interesting setup, but I cannot think of a promotion that gives less of a shit about tag teams throughout the year than New Japan. I would argue that WWE cares a little more about their tag teams than New Japan does about theirs. That's a bold statement, but I kind of believe it. Throughout the year, the tag title, the IWGP Tag Team Championship is what does it mean? What is it for? Who cares? I don't know. But yeah, that's the gimmick. That's the setup. It's interesting that Shota Umino and Yuya are in the same block as the Knockout Brothers. So I think that all but guaranteed. I think Umino and Uemura are going to win the tournament, and that's going to be the match. That's going to be the match. That's going to be the tag team championship match at Wrestle Kingdom. We're going to get the Knockout Bros versus Umino and Uemura, and I think that's where we're going. And I don't think it's a mistake nothing is a mistake because it's all planned, but Umino and Uemura being in the same block as the Knockout Bros is a clear indication of that, I think. Who moves forward on the other side? Bishamon, maybe, if Uemura and Umino beat Bishamon, who are multiple time winners of World Tag League and multiple time world champions, if they beat Bishamon, then that really helps give credibility to Umino and Uemura moving forward, and also completely confirms that the Goto revolution is absolutely 100% done. I would go down that path. I would go down that path. That would be that's how I'd book the finals. That's how I'd do it. But yeah, And here's another notable thing, like outside of Archer and Zayn, not many gaijin, not a lot of Westerners in this. Well, outside of the Westerners that are usually contracted to New Japan, right? Again, kind of following what we had heard that, or that we had heard and that we're seeing put into practice, that New Japan is sort of tightening the belt when it comes to expenses and trying to not hire as many people from the outside, from far away, to come in for tours because they can't quite afford it anymore. They got to be careful with all the money they're not making. There you have it. So, there won't be much World Tag League coverage. I'll keep an eye, of course. I'll keep an eye out on the, in my haunts and my group chats and whatnot to see if there are any matches that catch any attention, and I'll watch and I'll report back if there's anything that I feel is worth your time. Might end up in a grab bag, whatever. But as far as coverage goes, I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you. Sorry about that. You can get it elsewhere, but just this once, just for this. There we go. Got some good talking points out of all of this, nonetheless, despite this being what I felt was kind of a slow week in pro wrestling. Pretty happy with the output of this stream. Let's hey Ross, nice to see you, man. Welcome to the chat, member of the Mr. WarrenHayes show on top of that. Momo losing makes me so sad. Momo Watanabe losing to Saya Kamitani earlier this week. They did shoo Momo away for Shuri and Saori Anu. I think it's really weird. I think it's look. I think there's a bit of booking malpractice in this situation here, quite frankly. Momo winning the Grand Prix and then just being an absolute afterthought when you could have really done something really interesting with, Hate Descent or, there's a ton of things you could have done. And I do agree this felt like just blowing over, just completely blowing over, Anu for not Momo, so that we could get to the two next challengers, right? So then we could go right in like Saori Anu at Queendom and then Shuri at the Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, they kind of did Momo dirty. I'm not enchanted about that. I think it would have had potential to do. It would have had potential to. It would have had potential to be really good. I think at Queendom, a big time match. But look. Here's the thing. It's like they took a risk with Kamitani last year, and boy, oh fucking boy, did it pay off. So, are they doing this with Anu, finally like elevating her, giving her like a spot to grow and to become like a top of the line, a top of the line style pro wrestler, top wrestler in the company, maybe, because she's tremendous. She's a fantastic worker. It's going to be a great match. That's the thing. But you can't help but think that the Momo thing is kind of sucks. It's not great. Gabe or Shibata, those are my picks for Tana's last match. It's not what I don't know. Wouldn't put money on those anyway. Off topic funny story where I work is having a craft holiday show this weekend, and the organizer likes to put flyers on the windshields of the teachers and parents. She calls it Young Bucks. Money from young people. The Young Bucks. There you go. But every time she said Young Bucks, I cackled. You felt like going like this. Yeah, doing one of these. It would have popped me if Yuto Ice was Tanahashi's last match. That would not have gotten over. There's a lot of people who would have been upset about that, but it would have been really funny. Like when he walked out at the show this weekend after Tanahashi's match, I was like, oh my fucking God. Like I was sitting there and I was breathless. I was like, is this what they're going to do? But no. They're not doing that. Admittedly, I don't watch that much New Japan, but I feel they have like 32 tournaments a year. I mean, it's a sports-based presentation, so they do tournaments. That's how you get the stories. That's how their creative works. Instead of having angles and you know, these big convoluted stories or whatnot. It's like, no, everything happens in the ring. So all of the tournaments are just like excuses for stories and angles and matches to happen. It's another way of doing things. How many tournaments do they have per year? They have the New Japan Cup. They have the Best of the Super Juniors and Super Junior Tag League. They have the G1. They have World Tag League. That's five tournaments. I'm not forgetting any, right? Those are the 5 tournaments that New Japan runs every year. I feel like it's either Okada or Nakamura or Kenny. I mean, those are not bad choices. Those are all good choices. Excellent choices. And they're tour based, so you have to build the tour around something. Yeah, exactly. Because we often forget, like, you know, and oftentimes, you know, we'll, yeah, exactly. Like, the tours all have these components, like they have the G1 matches throughout the tour to get people interested and to go see, like, this stop of the tournament and whatnot. You know, it's very easy to get into. That's the thing. It's like, when people say, it's like, oh, well, what do I need to know to get into New Japan Pro Wrestling? And you don't need much. Just start watching, get into it. It's very easy. Can you follow a scoreboard? You know, can you follow rankings? Can you follow sports rankings? If you can, you're fine. The House of Torture are the heels. And they're really shitty. That's it. Jade is the WWE Women's Champion. Yeah, she won it at the Saturday night's main event. I mean, good for, like, they have to push her. It's time now. They got to do something with her. They got to do something with her. No, it's not a random main event. It's Saturday night's main event. It's not. It's definitely not random. It is not random. Yeah, you're right. Like the New Japan tours. New Japan is a very easy promotion to get into. Like, I don't know why people think there's like this incredible barrier of entry. It's very easy to just jump in. I don't know. It's really not that complicated. But and you know, all pro wrestling is like that. Like, we like to pretend like pro wrestling is like fucking, I don't know. We like to pretend pro wrestling is a fucking James Joyce novel, but it's not. It's pro wrestling. It doesn't matter. What do I need to understand? You're not jumping into season 4 of Lost without having watched, the 3 previous seasons. You're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Anywho, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. We had a good, lovely evening here. Lovely Thursday night. I enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed it too. Remember, Dynamite review is out. Oh, and the New Japan Hiroshi Tanahashi review is out as well. That's all available for everyone right now. That's available right now. The Mr. Warren Hayes Show, of course, is also available. That's available for everyone right now. But for the members of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel here, you currently have access to the review grab bag where I reviewed 5, count them, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different pro wrestling matches spanning promotions such as CMLL, Marigold, Deadlock Pro, and Major League Wrestling. That's right, I'm not making this shit up. So that's available right now for members of the channel. It will be made available eventually for the freeloaders, but as it stands right now, if you want to get in on that, you want to check it out, you want to listen to some thoughts that I have on some random matches, well, it is waiting for you, and you become a member. You just hit the join button and, throws a little support my way as well. So you can't complain about that. I can complain, but no, I can't complain. How can I complain? People show me some support. I'm going to go, support. No, of course not. I'm going to be happy. Hope you all have a great rest of your week. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Have a great rest of your week. I just said that. Have a great weekend on top of that as well. Hope you have a good time. Go watch some Randy Orton and get back to me. I'll see you next time. No, it's over here. I will redo the music. Bye.